Well, hello! I'd like to welcome you to a slightly late but exciting episode of Pens in Use. This is the show where I talk about the fountain pens and inks that I've been using throughout the week. Late because hoped I could fit some things in, and we'll get into what I did fit in. So, if videos like this interest you, where I talk about fountain pens and inks, both new and old, I would invite you to subscribe. I don't really have much of a topic this week. I kind of got distracted by a possible contest, which looks like it'll be next week, but we'll get into that. So let's take a look at the pens. I have a Selector, which is a pen I just reviewed this week. By the way, if you do hear motorcycle noise in the background, the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally down in South Dakota has started, and my town is basically the funnel through North Dakota, so you will hear motorcycles. Maybe not so much on my street, because I am on a residential street, but, you know, I hear them. And my neighbor is re-shingling or something, because I can hear that going too. Sorry. Got to talking, totally forgot to mention what the pens were. Kaweco Dia 2. Kaweco Dia from the 1930s. Parker 51. Aurora 88. I used to do these comparison videos. They called them pen rodeos. I haven't done one in a long time. My IGTV channel sort of took over that spot, but I have pretty much abandoned IGTV. I've just been using Instagram for photos. I don't like the vertical format as well, as it turns out, and it was just too much that I didn't want to do for that channel. Waterman, Carène, sorry, two different things on my mind. I did know what the pen was called. And finally, because you haven't seen it in a while, and I don't want anybody to think I've given it away, my Nakaya Decapod Twist. As always, I'll be filming, or writing this in my Bomo art journal. So I've got all kinds of things in my mind. I'm kind of sweating because it's going to be hot today, and it's already started to be hot. That's why this curtain is closed. It keeps the morning sun from shining in here and heating up the house, and pretty quick, I'm going to have to, in fact, I probably should have done it already. I'm going to have to close those windows and pull those curtains. Then I can open this one. But yeah, those little things to keep the house cool, minimize energy use, and so on. So now you know why the curtain's closed behind me. So I know it's August 3rd, but I will mess myself up next week if I put August 3rd on here. So I'm going to write August 2nd, because that's when I was supposed to do it. In the summer, dates are more of a range for me. They don't have to be as exact. So I rely on peeking back a week to see what it was. Alright, so the Selector, I just did a first impression of it this week. I actually filmed that quite a number of weeks ago, and it's been filled 3 times without being cleaned since then. Just a beautiful finish. Probably celluloid. Some detail to it. I think the blind cap and the finial were actually black originally, but they're ebonite, so they faded. I suspect the section is ebonite also. And just this amazing nib. This pen is, I mean, I like my slim black pens, don't get me wrong, but once in a while you want a little bit of bling, and this pen has it in spades. I want to try some other purples in it. I'm just feeling purples and violets with this pen. But I gotta clean this out of it first. So I think I'm going to force myself to let this be the last fill, and then try something else in it. It's a button filler. We'll see. There's a couple options floating around. I've got more ink than I know what to do with, honestly. My next pen is a pen I reviewed a long time ago. I thought maybe it was time to do a revisit, but it's not. Not for at least another year yet. But this is a Kaweco Dia 2. It's kind of Kaweco's luxury line. Gold nib and all that. Oh, I forgot. I started doing ink swatches last week. So we'll, darn, have to get the Selector out again. Like I said, the violet is Pelikan Violet is very nice ink. I want to get out there and try some other purples. I want to find a purple. Maybe you can suggest one. That'd be a topic, since my planned topic was a bust. I don't know, an ink that would match this coloration. I don't know if Australian or Black Swan and Australian Rose, maybe, or I don't know, the Mungo Box Sweet Potato Purple. I just don't know. This ink is Iroshizuku. Kon-peki. And may I just mention, I like their big bottles, but I really appreciate their small ones. I just used up a bottle of Takesumi, and the little bottles take up less space. And really, how often are you going to run through, except for black ink in my case, how often, honestly, are you going to run through a bottle of ink? So I appreciate these small bottles. They take up less room and let you have a variety of colors. So that's a trend I'm liking with Diamine and Iroshizuku. And, you know, I complained at first, but I've come to see the light. Sailor is apparently switching to smaller bottles. You know, you have a big, and this is not a knock against the brand, because this is like the coolest bottle ever, but you have a brand like this. I mean, when you realize there's a bunch of ink up here, you realize, it's going to be forever till I empty that thing out. Now my bottle up here of Pelikan Brilliant Black, different story. That will probably be emptied out before the year is out. But like I said, my black inks I do run through. Oh, I should show off the pen. One of my early finds from myoberpens.com, no affiliation of course. This is Kaweco Dia. It is, well, let's give you a close-up here of the writing. From the 1930s, blind cap, piston filler, much smaller than the regular Kaweco, the modern Kaweco Dia. Gold nib. This one's an oblique medium. This is about the size of a Kaweco Sport, actually. The ink in this one, I gotta look at my screen here, because I don't remember. Oh, Callifolio Bourgogne. I think I pronounced that right. Bourgogne. Kind of a, I don't know, a muted purple, a brownish red. I'm not sure what to call this color, but I like it. This pen is notoriously difficult to clean out. The piston is just very tight, and you know, all the screwing and unscrewing you have to do, it just gets annoying. So I will probably refill this when it gets empty and get 2 or 3 good fills out of it before I clean it out. Parker 51. I'm going to be soon harvesting my first eggplant from the garden, so in celebration I had to ink this one up with what? Parker 51. Why, Rohrer and Klingner's special edition ink. I haven't decided if I like this version better or if I like Deatramentis' version, but maybe next week I'll have to have a pen with that, the Deatramentis in it. But this one behaves better on paper, which is something I'm finding with the Rohrer and Klingner inks as I've delved deeper into that world. But I'm not sure about the color, so I'll try to remember next week to ink up something with the Deatramentis. Right now I've got a zillion pens full of Mont Blanc Black, which we'll get into that toward the end of the video. It's not competitor. A pen that was inspired by the Parker 51, the Aurora 88, which is one of my favorite pens, one of my favorite vintage discoveries. I have one modern 88. I like it too, but it doesn't even hold a candle to this. The ink in this one is Callifolio. Equinoxe. I may be mispronouncing that too. I looked up their spellings using Google Translate, or not spellings, pronunciation. And here I am talking when I'm writing. Their pronunciations last night, and then I never got around to filming the video for reasons. But now, in the light of day, I don't remember them, because I don't know why, I just struggle with French pronunciation a lot. I'm waiting for a mob of French viewers to come storm my studio sometime. This is my Parker Ellipse. If it makes my French viewers feel better, it says France right there, so I've got a French pen. And this one, I just like that lacquer. Normally metal finishes don't do much for me, but I like this lacquer. This is another Callifolio. This one is Bordeaux. Which doesn't quite match my interpretation when I hear the word Bordeaux, but I'm also not an artist. So my interpretation of colors is probably off. I mean, I showed my art in a live stream, what was it, 2 weeks ago? And yeah, you may have noticed there wasn't a whole lot of color there. Pencil is mainly my medium, back when I was more artistically inclined. At viewer request, I last week compared the Ellipse and the Waterman Carène. Certainly a lot of similarity there. Another French pen, if that'll calm my French viewers down. One nice thing, I live pretty far away from France if anybody does feel the urge to protest my abuse of their language. This is Robert Oster. Thunderstorm. There must have been some kind of storm last night. Usually I will wake up with, thunder and lightning, but I didn't wake up. So I'm guessing, oops, you didn't see any of that. So I'm guessing the storm last night was just a gentle one. No rain came in through any of the open windows, so I guess that's good. Not sure how much we got. I need to ink up some Robert Oster Summer Storm here, just for giggles and snorts. So that's another thing to remind myself next week. All right, and the last one, just to prove I haven't lost it, is my Nakaya Decapod Twist. It has a soft, fine nib, which is, if you want to pay quite a lot less, you can buy the Platinum 3776 with a soft, fine nib. It's the same nib, it just doesn't, you know, have the Nakaya stuff on it. The ink in this one is Sailor, Jentle, Epinard, which I'm unclear with the new reformulation coming if this ink is going to be continued. Is this ink going to be in the new smaller bottles? Is it discontinued again? I remember being quite upset a few years ago. It was back when I was first starting on this YouTube journey. But they had discontinued it, and then I was excited when they reissued it just kind of as a special edition. I'm not sure where Sailor is headed with that. But if they do continue it, I hope they don't use these stupid bottles, because it's really hard to fill a pen after you've used the bottle once or twice. This is my third bottle of this ink. I do have one or two spares around if they discontinue the ink again, but yeah, I don't know, there's something about it. And then I just saw this week Anderson Pens is coming out with a Sailor 9, is it 911? 1911? Whatever their big model is, in the Epinard color, and oh baby, is that tempting. So, we'll see. As far as other exciting news, I don't see anything exciting to show. Oh, I guess this is laying here. I'll just update you. I talked with a few people. Some viewers gave me some comments. It was suggested to me to use a cork seal here. I was also told, and I can see the threads in there, that this bit probably had a little piece that screwed in and would hold the cork in place. That's now missing. So any cork I replace is going to have to probably be glued in. And then I'm going to have to, since there would have been a piece sealing that hole, I'll show you the hole. I'm probably going to have to make sure that's sealed. I am also considering looking at some of the silicone pistons in some of the pens I have, you know, some of the Chinese pens. I got to find something sized exactly, and a point in favor of the cork is the fact that, you know, I can make it whatever size I want. Somebody asked about this also. How am I going to fix that? To be honest, I haven't come up with a good solution yet. You know, I'm not one that has to restore a vintage pen to new condition. So I may just leave it. We'll see. Alright, so those are the pens and inks that I'm using this week. I was going to announce my giveaway, but I stayed up. Well, I was delayed filming this because I wanted to get my rules just right, and still not thrilled with them, but I've got a good rough draft down. I was unhappy with one of the pens I'm giving away because there's a bit of a surprise with that. And because I wanted to ink them all up, show them on camera how they write and everything, and then I'm just going to clean them out and work on giving them away. But anyway, one of the pens is a Senator Regent, which Monday's first impression is going to be a Senator Regent, because it turned out I haven't actually published that one yet. So it's a different Senator Regent than this one, but you'll get to see a Senator Regent. And anyway, wrote beautifully, broke beautifully, ink starvation. So you wait, writes a line or two, ink starvation. Maybe a word or two, ink starvation. And I could not figure it out. I took it apart, I cleaned it again, blasted water through it, nothing worked. And so I was writing with it, what, Wednesday night, actually writing my rough draft of the rules down. And set it down, and it rolled, fell off my table, Onto the floor. I got a cap full of ink as a favor for that. Yay. But I'll tell you what it did. Pen's been working like a charm ever since. So I don't suggest that as a method of pen repair. But whatever happened when it rolled off the table and hit the floor, jostled whatever it was loose, and the pen is now working very well. So I'm not going to argue with success. It's suddenly a lot harder to give the pen away, but you know what? I've got another Senator Regent with a blue finish, so I win. So hopefully look forward to the review coming this Friday, unless I decide to do a freestanding video sooner. It's getting warm in here. It's going to be very hot this afternoon, so yeah, I'm looking forward to switching the windows around and sweating all afternoon. So I want to thank you for watching, and if videos like this interest you, where I talk about fountain pens both new and old and at all price points, I would invite you to subscribe. And hey, one thing that's been coming up lately, I'm running out of pens that I have used before. I started doing that first impression series, and I'm considering, you know, the point is going to come where I will have used them all up. So I'm looking at how I can differentiate the reviews a little bit from the first impression. So if you have any ideas, you know, how to make the reviews different, I'm reasonably happy with the first impressions format, but an idea about making the reviews different, let me know down in the comments. You know, I don't want to do anything too crazy or too time consuming, but you know, some way to make them different. I am kind of liking this ink swatch. That's what started me thinking in this direction. I've thought, you know, is that something I want to start including in my reviews? And you may see me start experimenting with some ideas in coming weeks, because I've actually used up all of my canned reviews and I have to film some more. I still have about 11 first impressions sitting around, and a few more I could film thanks to some donations, so we'll see. But anyway, I want to thank you for watching, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.